For the procedure of the study, the participants were given a photo and were asked to describe it. Then, a confederate, who is a person who's secretly in on the experiment, comes in and describes the picture with the participant, and they take turns describing the pictures given to them. Now, the first confederate, C1, does a series of actions during this interaction with the participant, and these include smiling or not smiling, rubbing or not rubbing the face, shaking the foot or not shaking the foot. After this, the first confederate is escorted out by the researcher, and the second confederate, C2, comes in and takes turn with the participant, again describing the pictures. Now, during this interaction, C2 does the opposite actions of C1. That is, for example, if C1 was rubbing their face, that means that C2 won't rub their face, and vice versa for all the other actions. After this, C2 leaves, and the researcher then asks the participant a series of questions. Now, this series of questions is in order to determine whether they were suspicious that the other participants, quote, were Confederates, or they noticed that the Confederates displayed a certain type of action or mannerism during the session. And this was mainly in order to delete results or exclude results that could affect the data. And then after that, consent for video release was signed and asked for by the participant because they needed consent in order to examine the data. And this procedure is pretty solid. It's ethical, and there's also limited Hawthorne and screw you effect, mainly by the deception in the beginning about the reason why they were doing the experiment, and there were also multiple Confederates to compare and contrast the mannerisms.